everybody here, I think, would be aware that stress is now pretty much the #1 killer in the world. Insofar as, you go back a century or so, and most of the things that were killing people were various kinds of infectious diseases. These days, the things that are the biggest killers are various results of stress. So, cancer, all the different cancers are essentially the result of long-term stress. What they call degenerative diseases, which include things like heart attacks, that's just another result of long-term stress. Now, whether this person gets one particular cancer or different kinds of cancer, or they end up with a heart attack, or they end up with Alzheimer's, it's just really about where is the weakest point in their system. That's where the stress is going to go. So essentially, stress is a big problem. And I suppose that partly goes along with the fact that, of course, we're all living so much longer these days, which means that we have a little bit longer to build stress up in our system. So it's important to understand stress. Now, Robin talks about in her handout that, everybody has heard the expression fight, flight, Okay. That is meant to be a short-term, it's kind of like a turbocharged system. It's like, I've got to get this thing handled. So, if, you've got exams, so all your HSC students, they've all got this. I had a few deadlines this week, so I'm short a couple of hours sleep today, but whatever it is, but that's just a short-term thing. And the weird thing is that short-term stress is actually good for you. Think about exercise, or don't if you don't want to. But the thing about exercise is you are actually deliberately stressing your body, but it's short-term stress is intermittent stress. That's the key. See, intermittent stress, you actually have recovery time. So your system actually has the opportunity to repair and actually adapt to that stress. So it actually has the time to get to repair, recover, and actually rebuild or reconstruct so that it can actually handle that stress better in the future. The problem is chronic or long-term stress. And you guys are here, Robin mentioned about, people wanting residual income, because let's face it, that is one of the biggest stresses for people in the modern world. We don't, we're not really, probably here in Australia, we're never really going to be affected by famine, because if the crops here fail, they'll just bring food in from somewhere else. There are various stresses that we do not have, but there are always various forms of chronic stress, and we also have environmental stress, which is all the different toxins, and time stress many of us have. Anyway, I don't have to go on about all the different stresses. The thing is that with chronic stress, we don't get that time to recover. So that means that our system just continues to break down. And there is a particular sequence of things that happens, because what we've found in Fractology is that if people have adrenal exhaustion, which is essentially the first thing that obviously that happens with chronic stress, people can kind of deal with it. And if people have what we call dietary stress, which a lot of people do these days, that's why food intolerances are on the rise, why you want to stay off gluten at least for half the week, that kind of stuff. Because the other form of stress, as I mentioned, is environmental stress, which is toxicity in your system. Now, that stress goes to your liver, because the more toxic you get, your liver is like detox central. Your liver is responsible for getting rid of all the toxins. So as that toxic level builds up, your liver now has more and more to deal with. Now, if you just have adrenal stress, or you just have a liver that's working really hard, your system could kind of manage. But when you get to that point where they're both now under-functioning or exhausted, now you're really in trouble. because they get to a point where they start to set each other off. So the more your adrenals get stressed, the more, you know, your digestion's not working very well, and so you're producing toxins from that, and so then your liver has more to deal with, and then because your liver's not working very well, your digestion gets even weaker, so you're now not getting the nutrition you need, and so now you need more adrenaline and cortisol in your system just to keep yourself going. And it just goes on and on and on. Now, if that goes on, eventually you will get to the point that the liver is now under-functioning and your adrenals are now exhausted. So now what can your body do? The only thing your body can now do is start to drag on your thyroid, which is kind of like master switch of your metabolism. And that's why a lot of people after many years of chronic stress now start to have hypothyroid. In other words, now their thyroid is under-functioning, so now their thyroid is getting exhausted. At that point, you're either going to have some kind of breakdown, or you are going to start to develop, some kind of serious problem. The problem is that for most people, when they get to that point, they just then go and take thyroxine, supplement their thyroid hormones. That will not fix it. And in fact, you can take things to help your thyroid, but it will not fix it. And if you take stuff for your liver, it will not fix it. And if you take stuff for your adrenals, it will not fix it. You actually have to take it all together. You have to deal with all of it at once. Because by the time you get to that point where the liver and the adrenals are setting each other off, you actually have to support both of them.